for doing this, getting everybody set up for us. Take it away, Chair.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Oh, a nice little thunderbolt. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. Hi, everybody. My name is Ricky Conway. I'm the chair of the this year Parks and Rec Commission. Welcome, everybody. Let's do a quick roll call. I am here. Commissioner Linsky, are you here?
I am. Hello.
Hello and welcome. Commissioner Co-Chair Parsons, are you in attendance?
I am. Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello. Commissioner Stackhouse, are you available? Not as of yet.
I believe he'll be joining us in a bit.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Commissioner Kerr.
Hi, y'all. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Cool. I'm currently driving home, so I'll be there in a bit.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome.
I'm listening, but I'm not able to talk actively.
I saw Commissioner Martin waving in. Hello, Commissioner Martin. Welcome, welcome. And last but not least, Commissioner Rowden.
Present.
Welcome, Commissioner Rowden. All right, look at this. It's really solid attendance here today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Let's go ahead and roll into the approval of the June 20 minutes, which were sent out to us by the Parks and Rec staff. Thank you for sending those out. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns with the minutes, or I would love a motion to approve.
Commissioner Parsons, I have a motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Parsons. We do have a motion to approve the minutes from June 20th. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Linsky. Thank you, Commissioner. All those approved? All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Hi.
Hey.
All right. Minutes have been approved. Thank you, everybody. Next is our public participation part of the meeting, and I'm going to read this little spiel real quick. This portion of the meeting is for items that are not on the agenda. The Commission cannot act on items presented during the public participation of the agenda. The Commission is prohibited by the open meeting law from discussing or considering the item until such a time that the item is officially placed on an agenda. And if you do have a comment for this part of the meeting, please keep comments to 5 minutes, please. 5-minute maximum comments if you would like to speak as part of this public participation. Do we have anybody that would like to speak as part of this public participation of this meeting? It's a whole room full of people over there I can kind of see, so I don't know if anybody wants, is everybody here for something that's on the agenda?
I think most of them are here for something on the agenda.
Okay. And yeah, I can't see if anybody has a hand up or anything like that on that my tiny little screen, so hello. Waving. Hello, hello. All right, public participation for something not on the agenda. Going once, going twice. All right, no one has anything for public participation. Thank you very much. That means we can move right on to our discussion items. Discussion item number or letter A, representative to the Commission on Council Salaries, Shannon Anderson.
And I'm actually not seeing Shannon here, and I neglected to check in with her to make sure she could make it today. So I think we can postpone this item.
Okay. So postponed. Man, we're cruising today. I love it. Let's see. Discussion item B, review of the memorial process for naming a facility and public request to rename tennis court facility. Amy, looks like you're on the docket for this one.
So I think Amy is working on bringing up a presentation. So once she has that, she'll be able to share that on the screen for everybody. In the meantime, I'm going to give her some time to get that going. And try to set this up a little bit. So we as staff have been approached for a few years now about renaming the tennis courts that are located behind the Hal Jensen Recreation Center. They, interestingly enough, for the commission's information, don't really have a formal name. They're known as the Coconino Courts because Coconino High School uses them. They're known as the Hal Jensen Courts to us as staff. Looks like Amy has the presentation available here. And so, Amy, are you ready? Would you like to set this up for the community group that is here? And we can't hear you.
Can you hear us?
We can hear you now. Thank you, Amy.
So we're gonna have to go over there. No, you don't. These speakers should work. So we have about maybe 20 individuals, I think, in the room. I have the presentation, but to kick this off, so we have a handful of our tennis user groups, various ones here in the room, as well as those that have written, gosh, I bet I have under 10, maybe under 12 letters of support from tennis individuals regarding renaming what we would currently call the tennis courts at Hal Jensen Rec Center, for a lack of a better term, or some folks reference as the Coconino Courts. So we'd like to present a proposal for a renaming of them. Would the commission prefer to go over, or maybe it's best to do that at the end of this presentation that's been put together by the tennis community? Because then I'd like to go over at the end some of the logistics that are associated with renaming any type of facility or anything per a resolution that we have. So is it okay if we do presentation first, commissioners, and then cover those basics, knowing that this presentation and this proposal fits within those basics of that resolution?
Sounds super reasonable to me.
Whoever wants to take it away, and I'll click through the slides for you.
I have a question. What's the best place to stand and talk? Right there?
Can you all hear the citizen?
Amy, Amy,
No.
we can hear you crystal clear with you standing right there. So if whoever is speaking could be near those speakers, that would be great.
Do take it away.
Okay, my name is Gordon Medford, and I am the guy who is running the Ron Wren drop-in group currently. And I've been here since 2018. I had a hard time finding league tennis to participate in. And lo and behold, I got contacted by the group and dropped in, and I've been there ever since. And I appreciate the commission's time for letting us put this proposal forward, and hopefully we can do something to honor Ron, who has been a big part in all of our lives. And I wanted to talk for just a moment about what the drop-in group does and how we're organized and how it serves so many people in the community. And it's all because of Ron. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we get together for 2 hours of tennis, and we have rotation sheets where everyone gets to play with everyone, regardless of your skill level. And a lot of people that have played competitively in the past, but no longer desire to do so, still love to come and play drop-in tennis and enjoy the social as well as the physical aspect of having an outlet to socialize with people and play a game that they love. And this is a service to the community that I think Ron was instrumental in setting up. And all of us recognize that. And we thought a good way to honor his memory and all the things that he's done for the community would be to be able to name the courts that we all gather at and play at after him. So during the presentation, Gene Brown, the president of the Flagstaff Tennis Association, is going to tell you a little bit more about Ron and the history of him coming here and some other things that he has done for the community as well as tennis. And a little bit about how the charter for naming courts is addressed. And we believe that we've met all the requirements laid out in the charter. And so with that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Jean and let her go through the presentation. And invite all of you to come out to drop in tennis when you want to play.
Hello, my name is Jean Brown. I'm the president of the Flagstaff Tennis Association and hopefully represent most of the tennis in the community. First, if I could ask, do any of you members have questions so far on what Gordon has presented? Or the council members? Okay, so I'll go ahead and proceed, and I won't duplicate what Gordon has said, but you know, Ron was an outstanding person. He was a wonderful person in the community. He was involved in the art council, hiking, and mainly tennis. He was always there to play tennis anytime. He played Monday, Wednesday, Friday for a couple of hours, but he might play in the afternoon another location. So he had an incredible amount of energy, and he chose to live in the Flagstaff environment and help us grow tennis community-wise. The tennis connection, Gordon has pretty much presented, but he volunteered to organize this Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing, and that's one of the most important things. So if I could see a show of hands in the group, how many of you have attended the Monday, Wednesday, Friday? See, and for those that can't see the commissioners, it's almost 100%. So if after I present, we're allowed to have a few of them just say some words, that would be great on what it meant to you, how you felt being involved in the community, and how were you accepted. So why should we name the courts for Ron? Well, Ron passed in July of 2020. He had been quite healthy up to 2 weeks prior to his passing. And many people who use the tennis groups as a social aspect, getting to know everybody, were really upset with his passing, but queried what we could do about renaming the courts. So with Gordon's help, we've outlined the provisions in resolution and various numbers. Now, please understand, these are pretty intense and I won't go through them all. But what I will do is highlight certain things. So first thing, as was stated previously, the tennis courts are not named. So we have followed that provision. We are suggesting a name. The next one is the name of the tennis courts. Querying multiple people within the tennis community, we came up with the Ron Wren Memorial Tennis Courts. It could be tweaked accordingly, but that is our initial suggestion. We've signed all the paperwork associated with all that. And then internal polling of the tennis group. So I might want to ask all of you again, is there anyone in the group who has attended the Monday, Wednesday, Friday drop-in, Ron's initial team, that would propose another name for it? So I want to make sure that we do get all polling, internal polling. Is there anyone who agrees with the naming of the tennis courts that we have set? Ron Wren Memorial Tennis Courts. Okay, thank you. So that complies with the next resolution number. And it's stated numerous times about the unnamed facility, but we are recommending only one name. We could submit multiple, but we're not going to do that. Okay, one of the requirements for one of the resolutions, number 2010-72, is have they done something unique in the town? And while Ron didn't donate a lot of money, although he did donate for youth tennis, he was one of our people that helped keep the courts clean, put up wind curtains or wind, and he kept the nets clean. He fixed the nets. In the winter, we were out there shoveling the tennis courts. So he was there with us all the time, and he is today when everybody's out there shoveling. So the next resolution was, did they buy any land or build the facility? And no, he didn't, but he did give a lot to the community. He gave an incredible amount of tennis equipment to the Hal Jensen Recreation Center. And this was all done with love. And then Ron was a contributor who helped many people. Not only did he help the youth, but he helped, if you look around, each and every one of you, because if you didn't go to that Monday, Wednesday, Friday drop-in tennis, you might not have met the people in this group. And there's at least 100, 120 names that Gordon has that is invited to every one of these tennis invites. One of the resolutions is, that's another choose a name. So there's multiple of those. The tennis equipment, again, it's a repeating. But I guess in closing, you know, Ron, he spent countless hours putting up windscreens, shoveling snow to keep the facility open in the winter, and repairing nets to allow continued play. His real contribution was providing a unique opportunity for community members to enjoy a sport they loved in a social setting. It isn't all about winning. It isn't all about what level of tennis you play. It's about playing together as a group. So one of the best comments was, the friendship in this group is amazing. There is a strong group behind this proposal to fundraise in an effort to continually improve these courts in Ron's name. And Flagstaff Tennis Association, or FTA, has also offered to help fund certain items needed for these tennis courts. I would like to state that Rick Goldwasser, when we asked him what he thought of naming the courts, he had some wonderful comments, and some of it was already discussed, but he did say the fact that he did all of this without being compensated. He brought all of us together. It's a real true labor of love, and it deserves to be recognized. If you ask me, it would just be wrong for those courts to be called anything but the Ron Wren Memorial Tennis Courts. So I do have a conclusion. The conclusion is that there are multiple communities who have tennis programs. Some of them are great, some of them are not so great. In a lot of queries, we've identified that the Flagstaff tennis community is growing, and it's because of all of you, because word of mouth, every one of us has 10 to 15 other friends that play tennis. So Ron provided the residents of Flagstaff in a unique social community-minded forum for the community involvement through sports. In collaboration with the Flagstaff Tennis Association, Ron created a very special portal to help many people in our community. That Flagstaff, as a city, can offer this to its residents reflects great honor and comments by Ron, FTA, and the city. So if it is okay, I'd like to ask a few people just to say a few words on behalf of the naming of the course. And Jenny, not to put you on the spot, but you're right there. So can I ask you to join first?
Jenny Garcia, former Coconino High School girls varsity tennis coach. And I brought Ron with me. You know, pretty much Jean has summed it up and so has Gordon, but we honor a tennis member of Ron Wren's group, and the first one was Gordon. And so I had wrote a poem. Ron, you have touched the lives of many through tennis for many years. Since you left us, we have shed a lot of tears. God has taken you from us too early, from us. I bet you're playing tennis with all the angels in heaven, which is a plus. You'll always be with us, with each one of us on the court. We will be sad that our tennis world was broken apart. Everyone misses the fun tennis with you Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You always welcomed everyone regardless of their level of play. If you want to play like Ron, you must love tennis. Willing to shovel and play in winter. Willing to give time and work for the local tennis community. Willing to demonstrate versatility to adapt your game as you age. Ron was great at wicked cross-court angles, good lobs to allow recovery for an effective offensive position, good direction, control, hitting right at your opponent for easy put away. Some of Ron's favorite sayings: watch the ball, let us play tennis. Commission, please consider renaming the Coconino High School tennis courts to the Ron Wren Memorial Tennis Courts to honor a Flagstaff local tennis hero.
Is there any others in our audience here that would like to say a few words on behalf of the tennis courts or I mean, Ron Wren in the naming of the tennis courts? Anthony, could you stand up and come on up here so the commissioners can hear you, please?
Okay. I believe the camera's over here, so I'll go ahead and look into the camera, right? So, okay, my name is Anthony Medina. My wife Leslie and I moved to Flagstaff a little over almost 5 years ago from Albuquerque. So we retired over here, and the reason we came to Flagstaff is because of Flagstaff's reputation for an active lifestyle. So we looked at different places around New Mexico and Arizona, and we settled on Flagstaff. So when we came into Flagstaff, my wife played tennis. I did not actively play much. So she started looking for ways to get into the Flagstaff tennis community, and she found Ron's group. Ron welcomed her, and he even tolerated me playing there as we went, and we started playing with many of the members that are here today. So through that, we have become part of the Flagstaff tennis community, and through Ron's efforts to allow people of all abilities to come in and play, he has enhanced the reputation of Flagstaff as a place to go to have an active lifestyle. So he did all this without pay. He did it every week. I don't know how many years. I imagine it's at least 15 to 20 years. And he did it without thanks. He never took a day off that I can remember. And what he did greatly enhanced Flagstaff's reputation throughout the whole Southwest. There are several members here today that come here for the summer weather of Flagstaff that found this organization of Ron that Ron's established. And they came here and they play here because of what Ron established. So even in his, past his time here on earth, he is still impacting Flagstaff reputation as a go-to place for people that want to have an active lifestyle, that want to be part of the community, and that want to just have a good time playing a sport. So I believe because of that, Ron has done a great service to Flagstaff, and it would just enhance Flagstaff's reputation more to thank him publicly by naming these courts after him. So we just thank you for your consideration. And again, we just appreciate all that Ron did for the community. Thank you.
So behalf on, Mark, would you like to say something? This is Mark Levine. Come on up, please.
One of the original members.
And speak into this.
Hi, I'm Mark Levine. I moved up to Flagstaff in May 2002 and started playing tennis with Ron Wren and Phil Bruner. The three of us worked at the same company in Los Angeles for 20 years. So they're in part with some of the reasons that I did come up to Flagstaff. After a month or so, I went to a Continental Country Club tennis lesson and racket demonstration day and met Virgil Thiessen, who played about the same level as Ron and I and Phil. So I invited him to play doubles with us. Virgil was a longtime resident of Flagstaff and knew lots of other people. So Virgil started inviting friends of his to come and play tennis with us, and that evolved into our Monday, Wednesday, and Friday drop-in tennis. Bill Bruner, being a mathematician, came up with our rotating schedules for multiple people. And there happened to be a group of ladies who play tennis on the same McPherson tennis courts as we did. The lady running the group of women insisted on having multiples of 4 people. So every once in a while, not all of their group could play, so there would be some ladies left over who weren't allowed to in the women's tennis group. So they started playing with us when they couldn't play on their Monday, Wednesday, and Friday group. So that evolved into a more general purpose tennis group. Ron was always the tennis coordinator and organizer, and as mentioned, he would always be there to fix whatever was broken. That would typically be the windscreens. It might be the nets. It often was the center court tie downs that would be broken. So Ron would always fix whatever was broken. Then when wintertime came, the courts in McPherson weren't very suitable for winter tennis. So Ron organized indoor tennis at FAC. That involved a different set of problems. It involved collecting money, paying FAC. And since this group was a very friendly and accommodating group, we also picked up as tennis players the employees of FAC. So we ended up with BJ Bjorn and Tom Drury, who were employees of FAC. I just want to divert a little bit into the character of Ron Wren. I'll give 2 examples. After I moved up here, of course, all my furniture wasn't put where I decided I wanted it. So Ron, being a handy person, I asked him if he had a furniture dolly. And of course, when he came over with his furniture dolly, he helped me move all the furniture to wherever the furniture should have been. While we were playing tennis at McPherson, we noticed somebody giving tennis clinics to groups of women. We approached him and asked him if he wanted to give doubles clinics to our group. And it turned out that this fellow was named Bill Long, who often represented Flagstaff before my time, before 2002, in competition with the city of Sedona. Bill Long was a much better tennis player, and he was a semi-pro baseball player and a high school tennis coach. So he enjoyed giving us tennis lessons, but wouldn't take any money for it. So Ron found out that Bill Long happened to be an alumni of NAU and loved their football games, basketball games, tennis matches, general, theater and concerts. So Ron induced us to pay for gift certificates for Bill Long, and we contributed to giving Bill Long season football passes and basketball passes, etc. Since Ron was a handy person, he found out that Bill was not very handy, so he ended up doing little odds and ends like putting in a automatic lawn watering system for Bill Long, and a sound system, which I'm not sure was either a home intercom system or an AM/FM system, but he installed some sound system in Bill Long's house just for the heck of it. Kind of in summary, Ron had the attitude of, I see something wrong, I'll go and fix it. If I can't fix it, I'll get a bunch of my friends to help me fix it. And if I can't do that, I'll badger the city council and whoever was appropriate in the city council to do something about it. That's all.
Thank you very much. So in closing, thank you so much for your consideration. On behalf of the tennis community, renaming or naming the courts, not renaming them, the Ron Wren Memorial Tennis Courts. And the commissioners, do you have any questions before you go on to your next item? Well, thank you so much for listening to us.
Thank you for that wonderful presentation. That was, sorry. That was really great. And it's clear to see how much Ron meant to the group of people in this room and those that couldn't be there today. It sounds like he was a great member of our community and very impactful and in positive ways to the Parks and Recreation and to the tennis community. So really great, really inspiring stories. Thank you so much for sharing those with us today. I will ask again for any commissioners, are there any questions or anything you guys want to know before Rebecca, is the idea that we vote on this now today's meeting? Okay. Before we vote on
it's up to the commission if you feel like you have enough information. And I think I think the group did a great job at going through our resolution requirements, but we are here to answer any questions you might have about that. What was I going to say? Just lost my train of thought. But you know, if the commission thinks that they have enough information to move forward with a motion in whatever direction, you can do that today, or we can come back in August if the commission would like us to get more information or answer additional questions that we can't answer today.
Great, thank you for clearing that up, Rebecca. And Commissioner Martin, your hand was up first. Go ahead.
Hi there. So, Rebecca, are we confident that we have met all the criteria that is required for this type of motion?
So actually, Amy, I hate to punt to you, but I believe Amy's been working closely with the group on this. Amy, would you like to address that question?
Can you hear me very well?
We can, yes.
Okay, good. Yes, this proposal and suggestion to name the courts meets actually all the criteria in the resolution. Usually the most difficult one is the duration, since the person has been deceased, and we do meet that criteria of greater than 2 years. That's actually been our delay in bringing this forward.
Perfect. That was thank you, Amy. That was my only question I had. So I will pass it over. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Martin. Let's see. I see another hand up on my screen, truncated, so I can't really see whose hand it is. Commissioner Linsky. Yeah, Linsky.
Yep, thank you. I was just responding to Rebecca's question whether or not I felt like we had enough information to proceed, and I definitely feel like we do.
Wonderful. Yeah, and I share the same sentiment as my colleagues. I feel like that was a very well done presentation. I have, as long as it checks all the boxes with the city, I feel like I have what I need. That was weird. Yes.
Chair, we seem to be losing you a little bit. So Chair Parsons, might you be able to help us pick this up until we get Chair Conway back?
Certainly.
Thank you.
So what's the next step? Is if everyone's in agreement to move the motion forward, say aye.
So I think first, actually, we will need a motion to be put on the table.
Commissioner Martin, do you have Motion?
I make a motion for the tennis courts by the Hal Jensen Center to be renamed and by the, I don't know what the new name is, by the new name.
The Ron Wren Memorial Courts,
Yes, thank you.
tennis court. Do we have a second?
Yes, I second that.
All in favor of renaming the tennis courts at Hal Jensen Recreation Center to be the Ron Wren Memorial Tennis Courts? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Sounds like we have an agreement, so we will make that recommendation to council.
So, I believe the next step then, and hang on, let me get the chair back in the meeting. Chair, are you with us? Are you here? Okay, you're still kind of cutting in and out. To bring
How
you
about
up
now?
to speed, we can hear you now. Co-chair Parsons has taken this forward a little bit, so you just missed the exciting part, which was a motion to name the tennis courts, the Ron Wren Memorial Tennis Courts. I would like to ask for a point of clarification from the group if I could, because I've heard a couple of different names. Jean, could you address, would you all like the courts to be renamed or named the Ron Wren Memorial Tennis Courts or the Ron Wren Memorial Courts? I just want to make sure we take forward your request.
Yes, thank you for asking. Flagstaff Tennis Association and the tennis community suggest the Ron Wren Memorial Tennis Courts.
Thank you for that clarification. Is there anyone on the commission? I think the motion technically was for the Memorial Courts, but is the commission good with the Memorial Tennis Courts? I think the intent is the same.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Yep.
Thank you all for that clarification. So our next steps as staff is to take your recommendation, commission, to the city council. And we will work through that process this summer. The city council is currently on break until the end of August, beginning of September. As you can imagine, their first few meetings are pretty full. So we'll probably look to get this in front of them. And tennis group will, Amy will coordinate a date that works well for you all so that you can be in attendance at that city council meeting, because I think it's impactful if you all can show your same level of support there. So I'm thinking probably October would be a good time. And so we'll work on that from the staff side and keep this moving forward.
Thank
That's
you.
excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
And Jenny Garcia, it's nice to see you. It's been a while. Hi. I don't know if there's others in the room that I see, but I know Jenny. Jenny and me go together like peas and carrots. All right, discussion, going back to discussion A, a representative to the Commission on Council Salaries. I understand Shannon Anderson has joined us. Hi, Shannon, long time no see as well. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks, Chair Conway. I appreciate your willingness to go back to this agenda item. I apologize for the mix-up on my calendar. Is it all right if we dive into a little bit of background so commission members know why we're here?
Please do,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, sounds
Okay,
great.
terrific. So there is a city code that is specific to council salaries. And that code specifies that if a majority of council requests a review of salaries, that we will put together a citizen commission to review their salaries out of the city manager's office. So this request actually came in a while back, but we've had a hard time filling the 4 community vacancies. But as of late, we've been able to fill those 4 vacancies, 2 community members at large, and then 2 community members that have human resource expertise. So now we are circling back to get a recommendation from each of the 5 commissions that are listed in the ordinance. And one of those is the Parks and Rec Commission. And what it says is that we will, a member of each of these 5 commissions will participate in this citizen commission. It's a 9-member commission. So 5 commission members, one of those being from Parks and Rec, and then the 4 community members that I touched on previously. So just looking to see who from your commission might be interested in serving on the Citizen Commission to review council salaries. I don't have a meeting schedule set yet. Once we have the group identified, I will reach out to that group to determine what time works best for most of them. Typically in the past, it's lasted a couple of hours, a couple-hour meeting here, a second one to kind of finalize things. So it's not a long-term project.
Commissioner Martin, go ahead.
That was my question, was what was kind of the size and scale of it? So so it sounds like it's 2 meetings, maybe 3, but generally 2. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Kerr?
Oh, that was the same question. Because being on the bond committee, I was just curious if it was a similar like ad hoc type of, we would like would they be as consistent as the bond committee was because it's a short thing, or are they less free? Like you say only like 2 meetings.
Yeah,
is it
Austin.
just like discuss that? Yeah, and then to make a decision. Like
Yeah, so Austin, the first meeting, I've been through this process once with the previous city manager. The first meeting was really spent sharing information. So we would collect salary data from other agencies who compensate their mayor and city council or town council members. We would provide that data, have a general discussion. The committee members themselves asked for information such as CPI. So we came back to a second meeting with that information that was requested, and they formulated their recommendation. So in my experience, in that particular case, it was 2 meetings. So not as much time needed as you experienced in the Citizen Bond Committee. That went on for several months, and you all met on a weekly basis. In this particular case, I want to say the meetings were maybe a couple weeks apart, if I recall correctly.
awesome. Thanks, Shannon. And can I ask another question as well?
No. I'm just gonna go ahead.
No, oh man. Okay. So once that information is like sussed out, and we as the committee of 9 figure it out, and you said it's recommended, does it go to council, and does council then vote on their own salary?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So basically the council will vote to either support or not support the recommendation that's coming out of the commission.
Okay, great. And I'll just throw it out there if others are interested, but I'll throw my hat in the ring as a potential interested commissioner.
We've got our first hat in the ring. Any other commissioners with questions or hats? We'll take those now, please. All right, Commissioner Martin's got one of those too. What you got, Martin? Hat or
I'll throw in my, since it seems like it's a smaller in scope to the bond commission. I will throw myself into the ring too.
But you only need 1 from this group, so we gotta like throw something in the middle and have a circle and see who wins it out. Anybody else interested, and maybe someone who hasn't had the experience to serve on a commission or committee outside of this one that would like that experience, or does anyone want to de-seat Commissioner Martin or Kerr for this spot? Okay,
And
well,
I'm
it looks
very
like,
okay. I'm very okay backing down if someone who hasn't served on one of these ad hoc committees would like to do that. I'm very okay with that. I just thought I'd throw it out there because I like doing this stuff. So
I was kind of hoping for a virtual arm wrestle. This is Commissioner Stackhouse, but
that would be awesome. Yeah. All right, so let's see. So Commissioner Kerr is willing to stand aside if Commissioner Martin would like to do this. Have you served on one of these committees before? Would this be something kind of new experience for you, or?
I was on the bond commission for about a week till I figured out the scale of it. And then unfortunately, I had to back away because I didn't know it would be weekly meetings, so for months. So I would love to do it.
All right. If everybody's all right with it, then we'll I don't know the next steps, but it sounds like Commissioner Martin is your person, Shannon, and we all support that.
Sounds terrific. I'll work with Rebecca, Ryan, to get your contact information. And then once I have everyone identified, I'll start reaching out to the group so we can plan some meeting times.
Thank you.
Shannon,
Look forward to it.
Shannon, a couple of questions. Do you need a motion? Or is just this recommendation good? And then do you know about when you're anticipating to start?
Some of the other commission meetings are not until August. So I would imagine that I'm looking probably at September. That way it gives time for everyone to be identified, and then it can take sometimes a couple weeks to get everyone's schedules coordinated, just because folks book out a couple weeks in advance. So I would imagine probably first part of September.
And do we need a motion, or is
No,
that was it?
no, yeah. Just for this group to identify who's going to serve on your behalf, and you've done that. So thank you very much for your time. And again, I apologize for not being here earlier.
No worries, no worries. Thank you, Commissioner Martin, for volunteering to be on this commission, and Commissioner Kerr for your volunteering as well. And thank you, Shannon, for coming and talking with us today. I'm glad we were able to find your person.
Yeah, thank you. It was great to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Well done, everybody. Thank you for volunteering, and that moved really quickly. Now comes a big part of today's meeting, ranking the projects. And as you saw in an email, there's going to be an exercise associated with this. Rebecca, how much time do we want to give this whole exercise? 45 minutes, a half hour? We're at 4:40, we're 4:50 right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking we have a presentation to go through those project descriptions. I want to go through those one by one to make sure that that the descriptions are very clear for the commission to understand what those are. I anticipate that'll take us maybe 10 minutes. And then really the ranking itself, we'll set that up for you. Probably about 5 minutes for that. And then the time for you all to actually have the time during this meeting, if you'd like to complete that exercise so that you have the availability of staff to answer any questions you have as you're going through that. And then that's as far as we were going to get today. So with your permission, I'm going to share those project descriptions. And just to set this up, this is a little bit different list than what you've seen in the past. And the way that we came up with it, hang on, of course, now it's not showing up. There we are. So what we wanted to do was provide to you all a list of projects, number one, that are fundable in our opinion within the BBB Recreation 5-year plan. And we'll go over that plan in more detail at our August meeting. But we really wanted the commission to think about these projects not in terms of how much money they're going to cost and then kind of work backwards from how much funding is available. We really want you to think about these as what's important to the communities that you represent, the constituents that you're hearing from, and really thinking about the projects themselves without having to be burdened with the idea of price. So I think my message to the commission would be leave the cost estimates to us. But that said, we did try to put on here projects, as I said, that we believe are fundable. So we kind of looked at a $2 million cutoff. Even a $2 million project would require probably some phasing, or at least a few years of building up funds within the BBB recreation plan. And there's opportunity for grants. But let us worry about that. What we want from the commission is what you think are the most important projects for us to try to fund first within the BBB recreation plan. So that's why I'm not presenting to you the BBB rec funding plan today, because I really want you to focus on the projects themselves. So are there any questions before we start diving into these project descriptions on how, and then we'll explain the, excuse me, we'll explain the ranking exercise itself when we get there in just a moment. Okay, so I did let you know that we would email you a link to a survey. And that I was hoping that you would be prepared to access your email during this meeting. So Beck, could you please, while I'm going through these project descriptions, or actually I'm going to ask Amy to help me with that. Could you go ahead and email out the link to that survey? And commissioners, while you're listening to us intently and not distracted by checking your email, please do check your email and make sure that it comes through for you. These are all the things we want to make sure we get taken care of for you today. So Amy, would you like to dive in on these project descriptions one by one, or would you like me to?
Yeah, I can, if everyone can hear me, I'm all right.
And I see that we have some folks remaining in the room. Can they see? I'm trying to make this as big as I can. Can you guys see this list?
They can, and I tried to increase the size of it too. So yeah.
Okay.
We also did turn down the lights, so if any of us take a nap here, that's why. These are in alphabetical order. I want to say there's just over 20, if I'm not mistaken on that, Rebecca. So our first one is an aquaplex play structure. So that's to add a play structure, so an outdoor play structure for ages 2 to 5 years old to the aquaplex on the just outside on, there's some exit doors that go to an exterior courtyard off our kids club. That would allow for some outdoor play while patrons are utilizing the facility and that service. So that's the first one. Again, alphabetically, a cemetery expansion. So that's a 1 acre expansions used, usually the denomination that we tend to expand at that location. So just expand the property by 1 acre in size for future plots. Our last expansion that we implemented, so that a year before that was even designed and the budgetary aspects of it, but that was in 2019. And we are on average right now processing about 200 services per calendar year with a 50-50 split on whether if it's a cremation or burial. So that's for a 1 acre expansion. Also at our cemetery, a cemetery roadway repair and replacement project. The roadway network within the Citizen Cemetery has many roads. They're in need of either full replacement of the asphalt, or some just may need asphalt in general because they're dirt at this time. This could include any applicable edge treatments, and by edge treatments, I mean like a curb and gutter. We do not have any sidewalks inside the cemetery, so that would just be curb gutter. Fourth on the list, we have the Cheshire multi-purpose field. So that is developing a multi-purpose field, either turf or synthetic, on approximately 8 acres of parkland that's adjacent to the existing Cheshire Park near Highway 180. This would add to the inventory of our fields available for the community user groups and leagues, including like soccer, volleyball, rugby, flag football, and ultimate frisbee. Then we have the Christensen Park outdoor racket facility in phases. Phases is a key term there, which is including access to that parcel. The Christensen parcel is a 10-acre parcel on the east side of town. Would need to be developed in phases based on funding aspects, but it would be for an outdoor racket facility that accompanies parking, walkways, and urban trail connection. Then we would need access from either existing right-of-way or through U.S. Forest Service land. Then we have the Continental Park added ball fields. So this is slightly different than what the commission or the public have maybe seen in the past when we're talking about Continental Park. We had an idea of, do we figure out like how could we add, we have additional acreage at Continental Park, which is a regional park. So we were wondering, do we start to design and develop again in phases based on funding and start adding maybe one field at a time, a girls softball field, where in the past we've spoken at both the commission and at council regarding a bond initiative for a softball complex. This could be a different approach, so something to think about. In our existing permanent restroom systems throughout our park system, we may have some needs for some upgrades or remodeling. So it could be a process of evaluating those features inside those existing restrooms, and probably in order of age. Yeah. Gross task. I heard we have a member of the public that would sign up to do that. In order of age, for whether upgrades or remodeling needs to continue to protect that asset. Then we created a category just called furnishings, and what we mean by furnishings are anything. It could be anything that's like a refillable bottle filler. Like we don't have one at all the tennis courts, say, or we don't have one at every single park location. That's the refillable type. Or additional water fountains if our community needs that. Benches, newer grills, anything that is aging in nature and in need of replacement in our park system. We have our foots, any repair and replacements there. We know that we have just over 11 miles combined between asphalt and concrete that are in need of that are existing and that are in need. And this could be based on linear footage to coordinate well with funding if this was rising to the top on this priority list. So that would be for either a repair or a full replacement of sections. At our Hal Jensen Recreation Center, we've added on here HVAC. So that's adding a heating and air conditioning system to the gym, racquetball courts, and fitness areas inside the rec center. Just creating a better environment for the youth and our youth activities at that location. Then we have our Heritage Square restrooms, which they are existing restrooms. So could it have fallen in the category for above? Sure. The Heritage Square restrooms, they are right off an alley off near the Creperie and Diablo Burger. Attached to a building that is not the city's building to necessarily maintain, but yet we maintain these exterior restrooms. So the idea is, do we locate and develop a single restroom unit that's not within that existing building and or alley, creating kind of a standalone restroom for the public at or near Heritage Square or somewhere in the downtown area. And a part of that project would include, let's close the restrooms that are attached to the alley. Next page, please, Rebecca. Thank you. At our Josie / Thorpe Park area. It went too high for me. Okay, I'm gonna improvise. So at the Josie Thorpe Park, create an outdoor fitness area where we've got a recreation center there for our senior population and for the community wide. But how about we create an outdoor fitness area that could be used for both Thorpe Park participants and Josie. So we have that up there. LED field lighting. So that's renovating any of our existing outdoor ball field lighting to LED, creating not only a cost savings on electrical usage, but also matching up well with our carbon neutrality plan. And those are at various locations. For our open space section, so we have some access points that are needed. We have trailhead improvements that are needed and new trail construction. So that's kind of an overarching summary for our entire open space section that is a part of PROS, they're the OS. We have parking lot maintenance, so renovate, whether that would be a crack and or chip seal, our existing parking lots in our park system and even our recreation centers that are in need before it becomes a situation of full constructions needed. Again, just protecting your assets there. A big one are our play structure replacements. We have a lot of old playground structures out there exceeding even 25 years, which they're not meant to be around necessarily that long. Yay, maintenance team. Apparently they do a really good job of that. Replace aged play structures in various parks. Working off probably oldest to newest would be the best approach, or that would certainly be my suggested approach on that. And to not do them all at once either, because then we could be in a similar circumstance with our predecessors 20 years from now needing to replace a bunch of play structures. Ponderosa Park renovation. Ponderosa Park has at times been called ground zero of the flooding events due to the museum fire. So we have fully demoed and hauled off all the play structure, some horseshoe pits, volleyball, sand volleyball court. The Ramada is still existing, but that park, it's time to bring it back. So that would include a design. There is a design for a future flood channel there. So we're incorporating that into what this redesign would look like, where we need to bring back the rest of that park's elements for the community. In general, kind of like the restrooms, there could be some Ramada repair and replacements that are existing in our park system today. Those are at various locations. This could also, it could include elements even like roofing or even some patching of concrete pads or some tables maybe need to be swapped out. Just overall in our recreation facilities, of which there are 4 recreation facilities, there could be some capital replacements, maybe something larger that are specific to equipment. Even, you know, there's unique equipment at the ice rink or for our pool here at the Aquaplex, just anything to extend the life and functionality of both those larger facilities for us. Signage in parks, the tennis community knows this. We have some incorrect information or old information on some of our signs. So maybe like an overall kind of refresh on our signage in our parks, even regarding rules, regulations, phone numbers to contact whom, anything like that. And maybe we can even add a little educational piece to it too. That could be neat if we did a signage overhaul. A smart irrigation system add-on. So in 2019, Parks was funded to install a smart irrigation system. We've done that successfully and are running off of it. There's still some additional features that we could purchase to kind of make the system even more robust that we would benefit from. There'd be kind of the overarching goal of that still would continue to be water usage and savings on that in our park system. So there's some words in there, you'll be like, Amy, I don't know what you're talking about. So we don't need to go over what a flow sensor is or OptiFlow or anything like that. Splash pad. Design and construct a splash pad for seasonal use. For outdoor recreational fun. Potable water maybe would be, you know, the water source to use, but it is recycled within a closed and filtered system so that we could still, I believe, achieve any water conservation goals. So we could look for a space for that or a partnership on that somewhere. We have our Thorpe Park Annex, which is also, as we know, going to occur in phases when we get to an adoptable concept plan. So that has taken the results from that public engagement process and the council approved concept plan and start to begin what that design and construction looks like on those 8 acres. Somewhat related to that is the next item. Through some of the early public engagement process for Thorpe Park Annex, do we relocate, there are 2 basketball courts at Thorpe Park, and do we relocate those somewhere else and then add 2 tennis to Thorpe Park, creating essentially a 6-pack of tennis courts there? So that's what that idea is. There's 2 2 basketball courts and a sand volleyball court kind of located in that area. So we figure out a best use for that space, as long as we can replace what we're saying, relocates to another area. You mind scrolling up, Rebecca? Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, maybe I'll wait to the end. I think I got 2 Thorpe Park basketball courts. Is there anything after that?
Nope, that's the end. However, as you were going through this, I just realized that we don't have necessarily on here sport court repair or reconstruction or resurfacing. Is that right? Or did you have it in mind, so in one of these categories?
You're right, we don't have that specifically there. So there could be like an in general sport court repair and or replacement resurfacing. So whether that's basketball, tennis, we've got dual striped courts, half court basketball, we have a variety there.
So thanks for confirming that we just missed it. But our amazing admin, Beck, who's much more than admin, who has put together this survey that you'll be receiving shortly, just added it for us. So it's not on our list here, but sport court refinishing, repairing, we as staff will figure out what's the best application for the court itself. But this is something that we struggle to fund, and just many of our courts are now beyond the ability to just resurface. We have seen that as we have resurfaced some courts, the underlying cracks just show right through within a matter of a year or 2. So we would look at the most appropriate application for getting that court back up to speed. No pun intended. And I think that is the rest of our list, unless there's anything else that we forgot. We were trying to be so comprehensive.
It looks like we might have a question from Commissioner Martin.
Yes, I have 2 questions. So Rebecca, I just wanted to make sure from that understanding with the resurfacing of courts, we do know a product that is working efficiently to make sure. Oh, okay, we do know one versus.
We do. The Ponderosa Park new tennis court. I'm sorry, not tennis court. My bad. Sorry, guys. The new pickleball courts and the new basketball courts were done, I believe, very successfully. And what that ended up being was a 6-inch overlay on top of the existing court.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. And then my second question was for the irrigation system upgrades. Amy, how the smart irrigation system add-ons, are those, how long do those last? Because they sound like they could be expensive, but if they're only going to last like 3 or 4 years because they go obsolete, I'm concerned about that cost. Do you know a little bit more about that?
I do. So it's not that, and that is not, it's adding additional pieces to our existing system. So it's not replacing any. So everything's very full functioning and works. There's an item called a flow sensor, and that's an actual device that's inserted in on the backside of what's called, or on the backside of the water meter, for simplest terms. We don't have those at every single water meter, so it's adding items like that. So again, just making the whole system more robust.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not about obsolete parts or anything like that. The system is smarter than any of us in this room.
All right, I think that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Martin. Co-Chair Parsons, you're up next.
Great, thank you. And as an irrigation designer, I highly recommend those flow sensors and anything else that helps reduce water use, such as weather sensors and rain sensors. But on with my real question is on this cemetery expansion, how necessary is that? I mean, are we running out of space? Is that something that's a critical item, or just what's your sense? How many plots are left? Are we going to run out of space?
I think very valuable question. We're not going to run out of space, I don't think, unless something unforeseen happens in the next probably 2 to 3 years. There are some specific identified spaces where there's a veteran section or there's a this section. So it can reduce the amount that we have open to just the greater public. But again, and we're seeing that 50-50 split between cremations and burials, and cremations take up less space than burials. So that 1 acre expansion is really for a traditional burial service. I don't think it's a decision. If asked as running parks and assisting the team that manages the cemetery, do we need it this year? No, we do not need an expansion this year. Will we want to start thinking about this in 2 to 3 years? Because then it takes a little bit of there's the budgetary factor, but there's also a little bit of a design, and then the actual work to get all of it graded, irrigation in, get the fill in, and then the sod. So there's a process to it.
All right, thank you.
All right, and Commissioner Linsky.
Thank you. I just have 2 questions, both of them involving bathrooms. Sorry. First of all, the Heritage Square restroom, Amy, is that, you said somewhere downtown. I know one of the issues with the bathrooms that are by Diablo Burger is that they are being slept in frequently. Is there any thought about these new potential bathrooms? Would they be locked? Would they be patrolled? Would be, anything that you've thought about that to make them not turn into something like that? Or is that just not even possible?
Anything's possible. So the restrooms that you're referencing that are off the alley are what we call the Heritage Square restrooms. They are open 365 days of the year on average, say from 6 a.m. to about 10 p.m. each day. The hours vary depending on the days of the week or if there's an event going on at Heritage Square. We do experience and see some behavioral uses and issues with them. We don't have the ability currently or funding assigned to have a concierge type service, if you will. We have experienced some other communities, specifically in a downtown area, that have elected to go that route. That creates a little bit of I think you're able to mitigate some of the unwanted behaviors when you're set up that way. So that's not what is being proposed here necessarily. Is that something to discuss in the future? Yeah, we need to keep talking about things. So the idea here would be, in the current setup are 2 units. They are unisex, universal. So, the idea would be, especially spatially, enclosing those 2 off an alley and creating one standalone unit somewhere. We're exploring with our legal team. We brought up an idea. We don't have any answers or resolution to this. Are you able in the state of Arizona to have a pay to use a restroom format? Does that start to mitigate certain behaviors? But is that the right thing that our community would ever want to decide to do? So a lot of unanswered questions with developing a new restroom there. I can't promise, though, that by just creating a standalone restroom, would that alleviate us of any of the unwanted behaviors. I don't think it would out of the gates.
Thank you. That's what I thought. And I know there's no real great answer for that. I just wondered if it had been anything that had been discussed, just because, it seems to be an issue no matter where you go, even, in Europe, where you do have to give them €1 to pee.
Right.
So
Commissioner, if I could add just one of Amy's thoughts with this new restroom as well, and hopefully I didn't hear this, but hopefully I didn't just miss it, is that they'd be in a more visible area.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That would probably help rather than an alley.
Exactly.
Yeah. And my second question was related to the Thorpe Park basketball courts. I'm not sure if this is urban myth, if I dreamt it, or if it was just wishful thinking for my bladder. But does this include the potential bathroom?
So already funded for us this fiscal year, so as in 18 days ago, is the Thorpe Park permanent restrooms. So coworkers and I are working on that now. We will be going to the city council on September 20th, seeking their approval to continue down the path of developing permanent restrooms at Thorpe Park.
Yay, thank you.
All right, and now going with Commissioner Martin.
Hello, I had a question regarding the, with the, what is it? Which one is it? Continental Park added ball fields. Is that enough acreage over there for it to be a softball, girls softball area, park, dedicated park, or would this just help? I know we are doing this in piecemeal, so it would be steps towards it being completion, but I don't know if there would be enough space there at all. Does that make sense?
Does Commissioner Martinez, I could pull up a map if that's helpful, especially for individuals that like to visualize what they may be ranking here or prioritizing. There's the existing large parking lot. I don't want to say parks over 200 vehicles. Then there are 5 ball fields there currently in a play structure. Heading all the way to the north are approximately 84 additional acres of Continental Regional Park. There is just directly to the north of the existing development, a pretty skinny kind of parcel access point. So that wouldn't be where you place a ball field, but we were wondering, can we get one ball field somewhere in there? So utilizing the existing parking lot, knowing it'd be quite a distance to walk, but does it just slowly start creating that softball complex, one ball field at a time? Maybe the design encompasses all of it that we want someday, but again, we can only deliver one field at a time or small pieces of it in phases. Thank you, Rebecca.
So I'm not as good as you, Amy, and I didn't bring up our GIS that shows the parcels, but at least this shows the 5 existing fields. And Amy, I believe we have an access point to the north, and there's 2 private parcels, and then would we be quite this far north, like up and around here, right, Amy?
Correct, maybe not even that far, and then it just goes straight up to I-40.
And the city owns, whoops, wrong way. The city owns, besides those 2 private parcels, the city owns the rest of this.
Correct.
So yes, there is enough room.
There is. I don't think it's all appropriate to be softball fields. That would be a lot.
No, but there is at least enough for there to be a complex and other stuff, but there is enough probably there for there to have our own complex.
Right. And this was kind of a new idea that Amy and I were just brainstorming. We would likely look at our previous design or concepts and still follow those plans, which were not designed at all. Again, they're just concepts. But that would guide where we would start developing in phases.
Okay. That was my question. Thank you.
All right, are there any other commissioners with questions before we get our final bits of instruction and begin the exercise? Any other commissioners with questions, clarifications on the projects before we get the final instruction and begin our work? All right, I don't see any additional questions, Rebecca, so let's.
All right, yeah, it's probably a good point to ask for public participation before you all start ranking.
All right, the wonderful publics in there at the Algoplex, do you guys have any questions, thoughts on this exercise the commission's about to embark on? I think I see a hand. Again, it's really, I can't tell. Okay, yes.
Amy, there you go.
Yeah, we're good. I just wanted to compliment the commission on this whole process. I'm so excited to see all of these things being considered for our community because we need it, and trying to figure out how to get it done is tough, but appreciate it. The one thing that didn't come up that we were just discussing here is a bathroom availability at Hal Jensen beyond the hours that the rec center's open. If that would perhaps be a possibility somewhere, somehow. Well, we were just sitting here talking, and we're not, engineers or anything, but even and what about an outside access door to the restrooms that already exist?
Possible, that's a good idea. We can take a look at it.
Okay.
But
I would just, for the commission, as you're going through your ranking exercise, I think that could fall under existing restroom upgrades and remodeling as a consideration. Because we didn't identify that these are only in parks for this item. Also, we have recreation facility capital. I think it could fall under that as well, or possibly even as part of and this is a bit more of a stretch, the Hal Jensen Center HVAC, the restrooms are in that same area. The existing restrooms for that building are in the same area that needs HVAC. So even though it's not listed out here, maybe we could consider it as part of that project. And again, staff will figure out the design and the funding need and whether it's applicable for or eligible for grants, et cetera. But thank you for that idea. And I believe, was that Jana?
Yes.
Hi. Thank you for bringing that forward.
No, it's a great suggestion. Thank you. And Commissioner Martin, thank you for reminding us to reach out to the public and pick their brains before we get too into this. So anybody else in the room have any other thoughts before we begin? All right. Rebecca, I'm going to turn over to you for the instructions.
All right. So I'm just going to catch up on my notes real quick. Okay. So number one, please check your email. And if anyone did not receive a link in their email, please raise your hand virtually. Okay, so looks like everybody got it. I'm going to share my screen now so that everyone can see what we're doing. And now I have a million windows open, so it's super fun to find. Okay, can everyone see this?
Yes.
And now I got to bring you all back up.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to enter my name, which each of you will do. Please only take this once. If you take it more than once, we'll be able to find out unless you do it anonymously. But that's the reason that we're asking for the name, is just so that we know who is submitted. So you type in your name and you click next, and then it's all going to come up like this. And I have to provide credit where it is due. This is the work of Beck Thomas, our amazing coworker, has put this together for you. So you do have a link up here to go to that document with the project descriptions if you need to. And I'm stressing that these are in alphabetical order. They are not, they have to be numbered because they're questions in a survey. And so the survey tool just does that. We have not numbered these. I just want to make that very, very clear. We have only put them in alphabetical order. So there's no presupposed priorities submitted by staff. The reason, so what we'd like you to do is rank things from 1 to 10, 1 being lowest priority and 10 being highest priority. That might seem a little strange, but hear me out. This has worked in another commission, and we worked with that commission liaison to understand why they did it this way, and it seems to really work. The 1 through 10, and please don't rank them all as 10. Okay, that just doesn't, I'm just going to put it out there. That doesn't help us. But what the 1 through 10 does give you is, rather than a 1 through 5, which gives you more limited options, 1 through 10 really allows you to differentiate. If you're like, these are really close, but this one's just a little bit more of a priority, it gives you that wiggle room. So it gives you all some more flexibility. What'll happen for us in the end is that we'll also be able to prioritize better based on the highest number of points and on down from there when we have results, which we will show you in August, hopefully. Hopefully all this goes to plan. So that's why I just wanted to explain the 1 through 10. Clearly, there are more than 10 projects. So we're not asking you to rank, you know, to have one assigned number per project. That's not what we're asking either. And so you can have multiple projects that have the same number. That's okay. Again, please don't do them all the same, because that doesn't help us. So, and then you just go through, all of the projects are listed here. I believe that we were able to add, try not to make anyone sick. Look at that. We added sport court repair and reconstruction. So that's on there now. And then when you're done, you click submit. Are there any questions on how to do this or what we're looking for in the end? Then go. And Beck will be watching for your responses as they come in. And please take your time. This is not a race. And we're here to answer any questions. And when you're done, if you could maybe just put in the chat that you're complete or raise your hand or something, that will help us to know when pretty much everyone is done. Thank you to those of you that attended today. We'll give it just a few more minutes. Looks like we've got a couple still working on theirs, so no rush though. At least not from our end.
Well, and while I got a captive audience, Concerts in the Park this Wednesday is going to be at Peaksview County Park. It's a wonderful collaboration between the city and the county, thanks to the Friends of Covey County Parks. And I welcome you all to join us at Peaksview this Wednesday, the 20th. It'll be wonderful with the Flagstaff Collective, I believe, is the band playing. And so either way, no matter who's playing, it's always a good time, and I want you all to be there.
And we appreciate that partnership. I think that we are all set according to Beck.
Well,
I do just want to confirm, Commissioner Kerr, did you get yours submitted successfully? I didn't see anything in the chat.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
sorry. Yes, I did
Nope.
get it in.
All good. Okay, so Chair, I think the next step will be for us to hopefully keep our fingers crossed and see how this worked. Hopefully we don't have to come back to you next time with like, that didn't work, we need you to do it again a different way. I think that this is going to be pretty good. So I think that wraps this agenda item.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and really great job. I love the exercise. I like the premise of it and how you guys executed. I think it should lend itself well to you guys getting good result. At first, I was like, dang, out of 10, that's a lot, but I understand the rationale, especially when you have 24 or so things to rank. It's you got to be able to differentiate between them all. So anyway, it was a great job, and really appreciate that exercise. I was very you set it up well, so we could just knock it out real quick. So I like that a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. And honestly, all credit for that beautiful form survey goes to Beck. So
That's right.
thank you, Beck.
For putting together an amazing Google form, which is not easy. I know those things can be a little tricky, and that was great. All right. Well, I don't know if I've seen Council Member Salas on this one.
She is not available today. She's out of town.
Okay, so we'll skip that one and move on to the any discussion, commissioners, on the reports that were sent our way as part of the packet. As a reminder, we get those ahead of time with the objective being to review them before the meeting and coming with any questions, comments, anything like that. Does anybody have any based on the reports we received? Yes, Commissioner Martin.
Thank you for putting the Aquaplex report on there. I think I really appreciated taking the time to do that, but it was actually kind of an eye opener, and I was very surprised to see it. So thank you. That was it.
Related to that, I was just curious, what are you, and I don't know if this is an appropriate question at this point, but like, are you guys working on initiatives to get back up to that darn near 4,000 members from 2019? Like any promotions or marketing, or like what you guys, I assume you guys, now we all see the numbers, what are their goals in place to increase us? Cool.
Amy, do you want to take that one or you want me to?
Please shoot from the hip, and then Rebecca's incredible at supplementing. So we do usually host a membership drive. I believe it's in the month of January. So that would be coming up soon. That's probably quicker than what we can imagine in a few short months. I know staff will be preparing for that. I see your hands up, Commissioner. So we do a large membership drive then. And I think once we get the kids club open, that may also pique some interest from some former members that have been waiting for that part of that amenity at this location to open up. You want to do you have any other supplemental ideas or historical information on that, Rebecca?
I'll just add, and I think staff has talked about this for this year, but we have our anniversary every August.
Yeah.
And we usually do a mini membership drive on that date, which I want to say is usually around August 11th or so. So Amy, do you know if they're talking about something like that this year?
If they're not, I have a feeling we'll be talking about it tomorrow at an all recreation staff meeting.
They are now.
See what happens when you give me information?
Commissioner Martin, did you have a comment or question?
That was my question, because I usually do know about the August membership drive. So that was what I was going to ask about. So I think that's what I know of regarding membership drives. But that's it. Thank you.
It's rebounded nicely. You guys 3 times from where you were in 2021. So it's happening organically, which is good. And so just a little extra push.
I think the other thing that has been helpful to bring people back, we still weren't getting a lot of people back when we had the mask mandate in city facilities. So once that was lifted by our city council, I think that brought back in a lot of folks as well.
Not to get too in the weeds, but if you guys ever thought about expanding it to where it's like a maybe more Parks and Rec membership, you get special ice rink hours, you get special like adding value to the Aquaplex or to a membership with the city where it's not just about the Aquaplex, but it's also you get some benefits at other facilities or other things as well. Not really worth a whole discussion, just something that popped in my head as we're just talking right now. All right.
Thanks for the idea.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody else thoughts, commissioners, on the report? And I think I've said this again. I love the way you guys put the vandalism graffiti table in there. That's it's super interesting to me to see all that and to see where the money in O&M, or what we call O&M and parks, goes to fix those type of things that happen out in the community. So I really do enjoy these reports and looking them over. So thank you for all the work it takes to go. It's not done in vain, is what I'm saying. I definitely look through these and really appreciate the work that goes into them. Okay. With that, let's cruise back to informational items to and from commissioners and staff. And I already gave my plug of the day, so that's my informational item. Anybody, commissioners, anything to staff or vice versa?
I have one thing. It is Parks and Recreation Month. July of every year is Parks and Rec Month. So we did have the honor of our mayor giving a proclamation for Parks and Rec Month, which was nice to have this year. And we have a calendar of events up on our Facebook page. We held Touch a Truck last weekend. We've got concerts in the park, as Ricky mentioned, and a slew of other activities coming up, including some themed skates and things like that that are super fun. So please check that out. And many thanks, I'll just say it publicly here. Many thanks to all of our coworkers that keep our facilities running and keep our parks operating and clean and maintained and safe. None of this would happen without them. And last Friday was actually Parks and Rec Professional Appreciation Day. So many thanks to all of them. And if you see someone out there when you're enjoying our amenities, please let them know how much their work is appreciated.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. And yeah, we very much value our Parks and Rec professionals as well. So love from the commission as well. Are there any, so it looks like for next, the August 15th meeting, so far as a potential agenda item is the BBB Rec 5-year planning. Commissioners, I guess now would be an opportunity if there's anything you would like to see added to next month's agenda. Now's a great time to suggest something. Of course, you could do so outside of this meeting as well, but this is a very efficient way of doing that. Does anybody have anything that you'd like us to talk about next month?
We will have, we'll add to that list the survey results, assuming everything goes as planned.
All right, well, I don't think we have any suggestions for you as of right now for next month's meeting. Anything you would like us to think about for, in addition to thinking about the 5-year planning and results of the survey? Is there anything else we should consider or mull over in advance of next month's meeting?
I don't think so. I think the combination of the updated BBB recreation plan and the survey results, I kind of doubt that staff will be able to start taking your results and plugging them in by then. We might try that to show you how it can work, but at least we'll be able to provide you with, here's our funding plan, here's our funding priorities. We'll start working to put them together. Keep in mind that staff, we do have a lot of projects on target for this fiscal year. So maybe we could provide you some project updates to remind you of what those are, like those Thorpe Park restrooms, for example. I'll add project updates to the list and we'll provide those for you.
Thank you. Well, and you mentioned in August 11th, I think you said, if there's anything you want from the commission, to be present for something. If there's anything you need from me personally, I volunteer some time that I have. So let me know, or let us know if we can do anything to support your 1-year anniversary of the Aquaplex. Exciting stuff. How many years? I said 1 year and annual year celebration, but I want to say it was 08, 09.
We opened in 09, I want to say. So however many years that's been. And of course, the last two are blur. That's why I don't remember how many.
Was that 13 years?
I don't do math very well in my head.
I don't do math very well either. No, I'm an English sided brain, but that's all right. So congratulations on it. Oh, what is it, Brian? Or Commissioner?
Long time.
Long time. Yes, long time. All right. Does anybody have anything else before we adjourn for the night? I just think that was a great meeting. Great job, everybody. Thank you, everybody who attended and participated. And I hope you guys have an awesome evening. And we'll see you Wednesday at the Concerts in the Park at Peekskill County Park.
Have a great month.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
And thank you, Amy, for setting everything up in there.
Thank you, Amy. Bye-bye.